All right, take a look at the AFC playoff picture heading into Week 9. The trade deadline, as we have mentioned, is fast approaching, November 4th. If the season ended today, those are the teams that would be in the postseason, and those are the teams that are in the hunt. We welcome back the guys, Ryan Wilson and John Brrech. We are tackling 5 trades the Steelers need to make at the deadline. They're at the top of the AFC North, but you guys just called them pretenders. So let's talk about the holes that they may need to fill for the remainder of the season. Aaron Rodgers could use an additional wide receiver target, and Ryan, you think that should be Saints wide receiver Rashid Shaheed, a deep threat receiver. Why would he work?
Happy Halloween, Tricia and John. And as you noted, the Steelers are currently the 4th seed. That means they wouldn't play the 6th seed. They would play the 7th seed, the Kansas City Chiefs. That's not great news. So if that happens to be the case, you got to get a wide receiver. Rashid Shaheed could be a legit number 2 day one on this team. He had some issues last week holding on to the football, but he is a deep threat. He's a threat to all 3 levels, in fact, and he would be a nice complement to DK Metcalf, who is currently wide receivers 1 through 3 in Pittsburgh because they've had injuries there. And, of course, they traded George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys before the season. So the Steelers need to continue to be looking for wide receivers. MVS was on their radar earlier this week. Whether he signs or not, they could still use more help there, no doubt about it.
All right, John, you said Rodgers. He could also, use another wide receiver. Raiders wide receiver Jakobi Meyers. It's not his fault he plays for the Raiders, but perhaps Rodgers could use him better than they are right now. Why do you choose him for Pittsburgh?
Well, for one, Jakobi Meyers is doing everything he can to get out of Las Vegas. If they remake Leaving Las Vegas, it can be Jakobi Meyers on a bus driving to Pittsburgh. Because that's what needs to happen right now. He needs to make this trade happen. The Steelers need to make this trade happen. As Ryan said, when you look at this Pittsburgh offense, they've really struggled to move the ball through the air. They're averaging barely over 200 passing yards per game. DK Metcalf is really the only pass-catching option as far as wide receivers go. He's got 461 yards. No one else on that team has more than 200 yards. So it's just a total fall off of a cliff after DK Metcalf. And when you have a defense that's struggling and you have to outscore your opponent in these shootouts, you need more weapons. So they need to bring someone in. We saw them get a high-scoring game with the Jets in Week 1. We saw a high-scoring game with the Bengals a couple weeks ago. So that's what the Steelers games are going to look like. That's why they need a receiver. And Jakobi Meyers clearly wants out of Las Vegas, as I mentioned. So this seems like a deal that both sides would be happy with.
All right, Ryan, an additional option, Titans wideout Calvin Ridley. He's making the most of his opportunities with the Titans, but perhaps with more consistent targeting than he's getting in Tennessee, he could be a weapon for Rodgers. Why?
Yeah, absolutely, because we know what he's capable of when he's playing at his best, and we haven't seen that in recent years, in part because the quarterback play and the overall talent level in Tennessee has not quite met up to expectations. And it's a low-risk move, and you might say, well, last year, and Brrech has talked about this earlier today, the Bills traded for Amari Cooper last year at the trade deadline, and he did virtually nothing. Well, sometimes that's a chance and a risk you have to take because you are out of options, and that's why we're talking a lot about wide receivers here as trade deadline candidates for the Steelers, because that offense, as Brrech just noted, struggles to move the ball other than in fits and starts, 3 or 4 or 5 yard chunks at a time. And at least you have another deep threat in Calvin Ridley to go opposite DK Metcalf.
All right, John, their defense, it can certainly use some upgrades. As you've pointed out, they've been challenged in both the run and the pass. You want the Seahawks quarterback, Tariq Woolen. Why is he a fit in your estimation?
Well, when you look at the secondary, it is struggling right now. They've given up the most pass yards in the NFL this year. It is over 270 yards per game. No other team is even giving up 260 yards per game. That is how bad things are in Pittsburgh. You know that Mike Tomlin is worried because he already went out and made a trade for Kyle Duggar. So he's trying to improve the secondary. I don't think that Darius Slay signing, the Jalen Ramsey trade, I don't think those have worked out as well as the Steelers would have liked. So how do you improve things? You call the Seahawks, you see if Tariq Woolen is available. It doesn't seem like he's fitting in with Mike McDonald's scheme maybe as much as the Seahawks would have liked. So it is possible the Steelers could pry him away. And if that happens, maybe a change of scenery helps him, but they need to upgrade in the secondary, and Tariq Woolen is absolutely someone who would give them some improved depth.
All right, Ryan, you say Saints corner Alontae Taylor. He's a versatile piece for a defense, a dual threat. Why is he a good choice? I think I might have just said it, but tell us.
Tricia, you just said it. Versatility is what's key. And as Breach notes, they have a ton of issues in the secondary. And Tariq Woolen, body size-wise, looks a lot like Joey Porter, plays outside, can be physical. The issue is they need help everywhere. They traded Minka Fitzpatrick, got Jalen Ramsey in return, and he's playing relatively well, but he can't patrol the whole secondary. Alontae Taylor, as you noted, can play outside. He can play in the slot. He is big. He is physical. He's in the last year of his deal and having a really good season on a not great Saints team. And the Steelers might want to keep him anyway, so they could get ahead of that if they bring him in now as opposed to later, because as we've talked about, this schedule is tough. The Ravens are coming, and the Steelers need to do a lot to try to maintain their hold on the lead in the AFC North.
Okay, so you kind of just alluded to it. You said the Steelers need to do a lot to maintain that lead. I'm going to put you guys on the spot a little bit before I let you go. Do you foresee a trade? What is it?
No, they're not going to win. They're going to lose, and it's going to be bad. 6 or 7 games.
6, 7. Is that what you're doing there, Ryan? My God. Your kids are going to cancel you and disown you. I'll say they do make a trade because they're at the top of the AFC North. I think Mike Tomlin knows they need to do something. They already made one trade with the Patriots, and I think they make at least one more before Tuesday's deadline.
All right. You heard it here first. Guys, thank you so much for your insight and the costumes and all of the entertainment. We love it. Take a look at the Steelers' schedule the rest of the way. They're facing the best team in the league on Sunday, and the Colts. A stiff challenge for Aaron Rodgers and the guys, and then the 5-3 Chargers await them after that. And we will see what they do at the trade deadline for the rest of the way and how they plan to bolster that roster for Aaron Rodgers.